We're making focaccia bread using the recipe from Artisan Breads. This is by the atHome with the Culinary Institute of America, not a sponsorship. So I'm using this recipe. Now I'm gonna make my pre-ferment, which is kind of like the starter of the bread. They say like the sourdough starter. It's like the bread before the bread. It's like the master of the bread. Like it had a little bit more experience getting used to the yeast and the water, and then its new compatriots. It's like, come on guys, let's work together. So it kind of leads the way and aids in the fermentation, and we'll go with that. Each time you make bread, it's a little bit different because of the conditions around us, the time, the temperature. The same thing, there's no one-size-fits-all approach in life. You can't put a one-size-fits-all label on you, but like when you go to school, they try to make everyone the same. Everyone needs to learn the same. When I was younger, I was labeled as mentally disabled, and I was put in a class with people where English wasn't their first language. And not that anything's wrong with that, but English was my first language, but I just learned in a different style. What I realize is that we all learn in different styles, and it doesn't mean that we're no less brilliant or smarter than others. It's just that we learn differently. To try to make everyone learn the same way, that's really not advantageous, because we all have unique gifts, we all have unique powers. So I want to call you out. If you think you're the black sheep or you've been labeled as crazy or something, you're smart. Everyone has their own gift, but it's about tapping into it, believing in ourselves, taking back our power, okay? Once you take back your power, the gifts come to life. If you don't believe in yourself, you don't have access to the gifts. By teaching everyone the same way, we become uniform, work the same jobs, go to the same school, want the same material items. Instead of showcasing our creativity, being different, and living our true purpose. There are people that are great in painting, there are people that are good in singing, there are people that are good in dancing, but you can't tap into that if you don't have the confidence to pursue who you are. All right, this should be 55 degrees. This should be a little bit warmer. Add my yeast and water in there. I'm gonna add a touch more flour than my measurement, and now the rest of my flour. It says use bread flour, which has a stronger gluten. I don't have that, so we're just gonna use that and mix for 2 minutes. Soft to the touch, and it says it's gonna be a little bit dry. So now I gotta transfer out. Now I gotta transfer it to a bowl, a lightly oiled bowl, and let it rest for 2 hours. So I put some olive oil down, put it in the bowl. Just think of it like this. There are rules that need to be enforced. There are levels to things, but think about who or what you're giving your power to, whether it's a mindset, whether it's your job, whether it's your partner. Everything should be an exchange. I see the value of a romantic relationship, but we tend to, in this society, become too extreme. Like, I don't want a relationship, or I need a relationship. What about the balance? The balance is coming into thyself. So when you know thyself, you can navigate the murky waters and decide what works for you, what resonates with you when you try different things in life. If you listen to that one narrative only, you don't explore what life has to offer, and you don't find that purpose, because I feel like life is a journey where you gotta go out there, slay some dragons, and find yourself. All right, this gotta rest for 2 hours. My pre-ferment. If we're more mindful of what we're being exposed to and why we're doing what we're doing, and we navigate through our life with more awareness, with the mindset of awareness and growth, and how everything in a way is spiritual. And what I mean by that is that there are always lessons to everything. It's not because of this. No, there's a lesson to it if you care to see it. There's a deeper meaning behind everything. There's always a spiritual reason behind everything. And now we're in the future. My pre-ferment overnight rose. It smells funky. Add the water. It says use malt. I'm gonna use some honey for sweetness. Oil to eat this up. My flour. I'm gonna add more yeast. Whatever. Let's do it like this. A little bit. Now I'm gonna add my salt. Here's my wet and tacky focaccia dough. It's very wet. The dough should be wet and tacky. I guess this is wet and tacky. Now we're gonna put it in a lightly oiled bowl. Okay, there we go. Bowl. I haven't come on here and posted a video in a long time, and it was simply due to just I didn't feel like it. I'm not trying to film videos, and I've said this before, to gain a following. I'm just trying to share some of my own lessons with you to reinforce what I'm learning in my journey and to help you decide what's best for your journey. So you can take parts of my experience and implement that into your own life. And it's all perception, right? Like the symbol of a cross for Christians could mean one thing. For medical professionals, it means another thing. So it's the perception, it's the story behind what we attach to it. I think with a lot of people that have influence and power, influence is currency, right? Because influence gives you control over people because people listen to you. But I encourage you to listen to yourself more and go within and find the answers within yourself. Don't listen to the person, listen to the message. There's no need to idolize a person, whether they're spiritual, religious, okay? There are spiritual people with not the best intentions that are doing things for their own reason, doing things for their own personal gain, not really to help people. There should be a balance. They should do things because we live in this 3D reality where we have to pay for certain things, but don't look at the person, don't idolize the person. Look at the message, like what are they saying, what are they doing? Like look at the actions more, that's what's more worthy. But don't idolize me, don't idolize anyone, idolize yourself. Don't worry so much about the outside, look within. Stop waiting so long for other people to forgive you. Forgive yourself first, start the process, and then we'll radiate outwards. I'm not saying don't take responsibility, but if we stop putting people on the pedestal and realize that we're all humans, we're all not perfect. So if we're trying to portray this image of perfection and say that we're this type of person, the truth sooner or later will come out. But I'm on the side of the truth and authenticity. Even if it hurts, even if it offends people, it's my truth, okay? There's no reason to be perfect. There's no reason to act and be an actor. So let's stop putting our time, attention, and energy on entertainment, on things that aren't real, and start focusing on authenticity and following our own heart rather than following the messages of other people who are not truly living in their highest timeline. They're living in a reality to gain attention, gain views, and influencing the masses, but they're disconnected from who they are. And we're all trying to be like this ideal image of perfection, but meanwhile it's not a real image, it's fake. The real image of yourself is to be yourself and realize the power within you. Yeah, trust yourself, be yourself. That's what I'm talking about. And know that it's an energy exchange. Everything is an energy exchange. So this is my focaccia dough. I'm gonna let it rest for an hour. When you see these cooking videos, there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that you need to take account of. And that's preparation, that's cleaning up, that's doing the dishes. We bypass that and we just want to see the finished product. It's not the journey, it's just the end. It's just everything complete. But let's start embracing how things actually are, being our actual selves and going through the actual journey rather than just trying to go after the final product, signing ourselves up for guaranteed success where there's no such thing. You need to plant the seeds and nurture them and watch them grow and take divine action, aligned action for true sustainable growth. And to be aware of how you're feeling. Sometimes a little bit of water, sometimes a little bit less. Sometimes I need to leave it out more to rise, sometimes I don't need as long, okay? You need a balance. My dough has been rising for like an hour. Look how puffy it got. You know, when I film these videos, it's a whole production with my family, allocating time, getting space. I gotta adapt, go with the flow a lot of the time, okay? It's not perfect, but I do my best to make do. It's not Hollywood. Sticky dough. That's how you gotta be with life. You gotta go with the flow. Flour on there. With olive oil. When I talk about knowing ourselves, it's important to know ourselves because going throughout life, everyone, society, your family, friends will want you to be a certain way, which is a one-size-fits-all approach. But there's, again, to provide true experience, to unlock our greatest timeline, I believe, there's no one-size-fits-all. Everything is a custom approach. Everything is custom. That's what makes life special. My gifts are different from your gifts. This on there. fries. Put that on the side. And when we talk about shadow work, it's not talking about evil. Like I said, people take concepts, some concepts in the light, and they use it for themselves and sometimes don't have good intentions. So when we talk about shadow work, going within, how I take it is looking ourselves in the mirror and looking at how we've been conditioned, how we've been programmed our whole life, and having that awareness, that foresight to say, hey, you know what, like this habit, this routine that I've been doing, that I've been putting energy in, does not serve me. It could be like drugs, alcohol, spending time with these people, certain concepts related to self-confidence, certain concepts related to success. For example, if we have a great job and we're making a lot of money, but we can't feel anything, all the money is not going to mean anything. But it's hard to take some time and go off that autopilot and do the shadow work because it's scary to change, and we've conditioned ourselves over so long to do something a certain way. So then when it's time to rip the band-aid off and expose the wound and allow it to heal rather than to cover it up, it's scary, it's challenging. I'm not saying it's easy, but if you take the step to actually do that, you're quite strong. And they call it shadow work for a reason, because you're acknowledging parts of yourself that could use some improvement, that could use some work, rather than just going autopilot and trying to get the new thing. Look at what you already have and how can you make it better, and how can you be grateful for what you have. I'm gonna make some Chinese inspired eggplant with this focaccia because I feel like it. But it's hard to do the shadow work. It's hard to go within when there are so many distractions in the people that you're listening to, in the music, in the movies, in all of these things. But it's important to spend time with yourself, no matter however that works for you. It could be cooking, it could be singing, it could be drawing, you know, like everyone's different. Some eggplant. This is Japanese eggplant. They say for eggplant, you should soak it in salt because it's less bitter. But I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm just not gonna do that. Eggplant, and we're not like everybody else. We just have to tap into that energy, tap into that power. And you can only tap into that when you spend time with yourself, you spend time alone. Shadow work can be uncomfortable because you're exposing parts of yourself that you kind of don't want to show. It's like, you know, have you ever gotten into a relationship and you try to only show the good aspects of yourself? Maybe you even do that subconsciously. But there are moments in the relationship where you can express and you can acknowledge certain things only if you have that understanding and awareness of yourself. It takes time to be able to be comfortable to express certain things. Otherwise, you suppress your emotions, you suppress your feelings. And that's what I believe leads to relationships that don't last because of the imbalance of energy exchange. And I'm not saying that it needs to be 50-50 all the time. There are seasons, there are periods of life where sometimes one partner helps more, one partner helps less, depending on the stage that you're in. But you're kind of like, one of my mentors says, dance partners, right? Or roller coaster buddies. You go on through life together and you go through the ups and downs together. So sometimes one partner will be helping more than the other. That's okay, as long as there's an energy exchange. But I think we get into relationships sometimes, even with our jobs or partners, where there's an imbalance in energy and we're not expressing how we feel because we don't want to offend the other partner. We want everything to be perfect, but everything is not perfect. Sometimes expressing how you feel will help the partner better understand your point of view. Same thing with a job. If you don't express to your manager how you feel, things might not change. So here's some ginger and garlic. But when you cultivate that awareness, it's easier to look yourself in the mirror and be your truest self. Only when you've spent time with yourself and acknowledge when you're feeling a moment of being triggered, but then not letting that moment of triggering you make you freeze, right? Like, let's talk about manifestation work and positive affirmations. On one hand, do I think that affirmations are beneficial? Yes, but I think you have to have a good understanding of it. Like, it's not a magic button. Nothing is a magic button. It's about consistency, right? So if I have negative self-talk about myself, as an exercise that I could work with manifestations is practicing positive affirmations about myself. And then over time, when I start to drop into negative thoughts, I can catch myself and change my state, right? And when I change my state, I change my energy. I change my emotional charge. So that could help. It's also not bypassing the elephant in the room and acknowledging when something maybe quote unquote negative or uncomfortable is happening. You can acknowledge that, but then since you've worked up so much positivity, you won't be frozen in your tracks and you can move forward. You can move forward with solutions. You can move forward with awareness. It's about not being handicapped by our own thoughts, by our own emotions. We're all like our biggest critics, right? So you wouldn't let somebody else say something about you, right? Like, oh, Michael's stupid, Michael's ugly. So don't let yourself say bad things about yourself behind closed doors, because that's energy and you start to believe that. That's a frequency. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, I'm not. But catch yourself when you start dropping into negative thoughts about yourself. Scallion. I'm gonna make this eggplant dish and I'm gonna eat it with the bread. Usually I would eat this eggplant dish with rice, but I feel like bread, that's how I'm gonna do it today. Freshness. But you just gotta go with it. That's why do an audit of yourself, take a look at your own actions, and then everything that you see, everything that you idolize is not always how it seems, okay? I am not always how it seems either, because no one's perfect. And this image that we're portraying is not always perfect. Like, it's just not. Should've used it. Oh no, it wasn't a good idea. See, it's stuck to the top. Now it rested a little bit. It's stretched to the outside of the pan now. Sometimes a little time. Now it's a little comfortable, before it wasn't. Focaccia is like a wet dough. High moisture content. That doesn't mean I know what I'm doing, but it doesn't mean I don't know what I'm doing either. But look how it's stretched out now, because it got time. It's got like air pockets here. Now I'm gonna let this set for like another 10 minutes and then throw it in the oven if I feel like it. Just going with the flow. It looks like a Mamma Mia though, I'm not gonna lie. Back to my eggplant. I add some cornstarch because I'm gonna hand fry this. Clean the space. Take it off for a second. Just so you know, this dish is inspired by a Chinese dish called Xiang. Yeah, Xiang. This is the micro version. So let's pan fry this now. It's a little crispy from the cornstarch. I'm gonna take it out. Now while that's on the side, my focaccia pizza, it's been sitting for like 10 minutes, a little bit of salt on top. And we're gonna put in the oven for about, let's say, the bottom oven. Here it is, close it up. Okay, Google, set timer for 10 minutes. When I cook, nothing is perfect, and I'm always doing it on like limited time and stuff. So if you're like, oh Michael, you don't know how to cook, like I don't care. If I followed the recipe and planned everything out and like had my own space and stuff, like it would come out better. But we just go with it. A little bit of oil and my aromatic. Xiang wine. Eggplant back in and not the paper. You just eat it like this. I forgot to add a little bit of sugar. I'm gonna add some sugar in here. My sauce is doubanjiang. It's a little spicy. Black vinegar. What else did I put in here? I forgot. Sesame oil and a little soy sauce. Let's put that in there. And water. And I'm gonna shut the heat off. That's that. That's my fish fragrant eggplant. And I just got some mango because they were on sale. I think it would be good. A nice little sweetness in here. Focaccia-esque pizza bread that stuck a little bit, but it looks kind of smooth. It's like a Sicilian pizza that we have where I am in Long Island, New York. Yuang Che. It's a fish fragrant eggplant with mango. And take my crappy one that stuck to the bottom, right on top. Mango, cucumber, raw cucumber, because it's too rich with the bread and everything. And we got a little sandwich. And it's pretty good. I love eggplant. The bread looks bad, but it's good. So I talked about a lot of concepts today. It's a little bit sporadic. I haven't filmed a video like this in a long time. I've been adapting to changes. I've been adjusting to new energies, new phases of my life, and that's reflective in my food, but you can still move through that. And we have ups and downs in our life. It's not always like up, up, up. It's not always light. It's not always love and light. Love and light is how we choose to be. It's our state. But in order to enlighten, we have to go to the dark, right? We have to look ourselves in the mirror. We have to look at our shadow selves. Because in the dark, you can see the light. It enlightens. When it's light, you don't see the light and you don't see things that maybe you can improve on. But no matter what cards you're dealt, no matter if the bread sticks to the pan, it's still gonna taste good. You just gotta move through it. Sometimes it's a beautiful mistake. Sometimes love hurts. And like what I said before, when you think from a higher perspective of awareness, everything happens for a reason. I hope you move through changes too with love and light, and don't be afraid to look yourself in the mirror, look at the shadow side. It's not evil, it's who you are. We're a balance, we're yin and yang. Everything is how we choose to, where we put our energy, and it's always like adapting and adjusting, like surfing, right? High waves, low waves, crash, smooth. I'm not gonna lie, this is, for kind of messing it up, and good thing I took it off the pan because it would burn and then I flipped it over. I'm happy with it.